What's going on, good people? What's going on? This is another episode of Just a Fan podcast. Three guys that are just fans of football, but have a lot of knowledge about football. As y'all already know, I'm Tristan. All right, let me get this direction correct. Over here to my left, as y'all see, is my man Steve. Steve, say what's
What's
up to
going
the
on?
people.
What's going on?
And then on this end, we got Brandon. Brandon, go ahead and say what's up, man.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
All right, man. So listen. What is this week? Is week 8 we in right now? Is this week 8? Man, I just feel like the weeks are no. This
We're going to
is
week 9.
this is week 9,
We're going to
man.
week 9. Yeah.
And it's just all coming together, man. And just to think, around this time, we're closing in on games and stuff, determining the playoff bracket and things like that, man. But there's still an extra game. There's still six more weeks of this thing,
hmm
you know. Uh, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's actually 8 more weeks. Still 8 more weeks of this thing of this regular season, and before we even get to the playoffs, man, that's absolutely crazy. Like there's still chances for some teams to turn their season around. It's not over yet. And around this time, this would be the time where we kind of determine who's who and who's not.
hmm
So we ain't gonna waste no time. We ain't gonna parlay too much longer. We're gonna get right into it, man. Let's talk about one of the big shockers. At least for me, it was a big shocker. With before we get into the game specifically, Von Miller, man, getting traded to the
Man.
Rams, man. Let's talk about it. Let's talk
So
about it.
I'm talking to Brandon,
Yeah,
and he's telling me Brandon seemed kind of happy. He's like, "Oh, well, cool. We don't got to see him next week with the Broncos." I said, "Man, I ain't worried about the Broncos and Von Miller. Him going to the Rams is the issue that I have.
that's a different beast, man.
The defense is already good. There's something else we got to worry about. You
Yeah,
know,
Hey,
in
hey,
NFC.
hey, Steve, look, man, we have the offensive tackles, and we got four. We're fine.
I would tell you this: nobody in the NFC is happy about that transaction.
listen, listen, man. And I hear you. I hear you over there, Brandon. You sound real confident, but listen, you got Von Miller, Aaron Donald on the same line. Like, do you realize that they're the two leading pass rushers as far as sacks since 2011? It's one and two. That is them. And Chandler Jones is third. Like this is a stout. This is about to be crazy. Then you still got Jalen Ramsey on the back end. You
That's
know,
true.
doing his thing at the corner, so it gives the defense so much flexibility to kind of do what they want to do. So to me, man, I'm just like, man,
and
like
and
Steve said, no one was happy about this in the NFC.
and Miller's fresh. He's fresh. He's not banged up. He's not coming off an injury. He's been sitting waiting because they've been talking about moving him for some time now, right?
Yeah, but I honestly thought that it had died down. I really did. I thought it was something that kind of died down a little bit. So I personally was a bit shocked when I saw that it went down because I thought they were kind of done with that. They were like, we're going to keep him. Then he got hurt, so I'm like, okay, well, what you gonna do? But hey, man, listen, Sean McVay, they listen. The Rams have been going all in since Sean McVay has stepped foot in as the head coach. Man, they go all in for everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. They trade their draft picks pretty much every year to acquire certain veterans, and they really trying to chase that, try and get that Super Bowl. They got there one time. They lost, but with the better quarterback at Matthew Stafford, who's a huge upgrade over Jared Goff,
For sure.
huge upgrade over Jared Goff. And then they had lost the running back, traded for Sony Michelle with New England. They already traded for Ramsey, gave his extension. Now you're talking about Von Miller. Yeah, they could be back in the Super Bowl if not this year, sometime real soon, because they are talking about giving him a new extension already.
yeah. And Joy Taylor actually made a good point today. She said, "Man, if you expect yourself to be a contender within your conference or a Super Bowl contender, there's no
Hmm.
reason why you should be hoarding draft picks." You know what I'm saying? Um, th- they're going to be. I think it's really going to come down to obviously who they play and who makes fewer mistakes than the other team. But I think it's really going to come down to what kind of Matt Stafford we get in the playoffs. To be completely honest,
Yeah, listen. First of all, Cooper Cup, man. Let's talk about what Cooper Cup's doing over there, man, with the Rams, with Matt Stafford. Cooper Cup's on pace to go, I think, almost 2,000 yards receiving, and 21 touchdowns. Like he's balling out there. You talking about somebody? And he reminds me of Jordy Nelson. It was just that kind of crafty, receiver that can, always get open. You're not really sure how he gets open.
Those
He always
that route
finds a
running
way.
ability.
Yeah,
Route.
it's just
Hmm.
it's. I think the only other person I would probably put in comparison as far as that kind of route running would probably be Jared Judy, over the Broncos, because his route running is definitely on par.
Yeah, I see his route. I see a lot of route running from him in these training videos on Instagram. Man, I haven't seen like him really break loose like that in any like games.
He's had a couple. He's had a couple flashes, or maybe
Okay,
Keenan, or maybe Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, you see it a
I think
lot.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Keenan Allen, you
yeah,
see it a whole lot. So yeah,
yeah.
man. Shout outs to Cooper Cup and Matt Stafford. Like I said, the Rams are going all in, man. They're like, we want the Super Bowl, and I feel like Sean McVay feels like he should have had the Super Bowl, and having Jared Goff as his quarterback cost him to not have it.
Oh, of course
And
it did.
and
Jared,
so
Jared Goff was scared in that Super Bowl, and it
what
showed.
and what's crazy about it now is that when you look at Jared Goff with Detroit, I mean, you can't rule off the fact that they may look for a quarterback in the draft. Because he's just not that guy. He has
No,
some
it's not.
talent, he has some skills, he belongs in the NFL, but to be a franchise number one overall pick quarterback, he's not that cat. He's not that guy.
And
Not at all.
I can't, I group some quarterbacks in the group of a guy that needs a strong, strong offensive coordinator. I can't say he's in that group because he has Sean McVay. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know what he needs to be honest, man.
I know. I know. I think he's just average. I mean, I thought that when he was coming out, I thought the way they advertised it, I thought it was more so like, it was like that's the best of the bunch that was coming out that year. I just didn't think he warranted number one, but at the time the Rams needed a quarterback. There was really no other need they had at the time except for the quarterback position. So
But like me, I'm always skeptical with Pac-12 quarterbacks within the last 10 years, man.
absolutely.
Um, the Pac-12 is a conference they pass 40, 50 times a game.
Yep.
Definitely.
Every quarterback's going to have crazy passing
Crazy
yards,
numbers. Yep.
crazy numbers. Doesn't always translate to the NFL, man. Some guys are still learning it now. Sticking with the Rams, how do you think the offense is going to look without Deshaun Jackson spreading the field for them?
Oh,
How's
thank you,
that going to
Steve.
look?
We definitely got to talk about that. The fact that Deshaun Jackson got released. I think, honestly, I really actually think they're going to be fine. I think he got released because I think Sean McVay just kind of looked at it like the way that offense is humming, and because they want to be more balanced, it made Deshaun expendable. I think he kind of did him a favor by releasing him because it's just like, I'm not going to use you the way I thought I was going to use you here because I don't need to. So, I think he did him a favor.
Actually, Deshaun Jackson wanted out because I don't think he was getting the amount of he wasn't getting the playing time that he wanted. So now he's on the waiver wire since he got released after 4 p.m. So someone can claim him tomorrow and pick up the rest of his contract. Or if they don't claim off the waiver wire, I think by the 4 p.m. deadline, then his contract is no longer there, and then somebody could just sign him. So it'd be interesting tomorrow afternoon who claims him off the
Yeah,
waiver wire.
that's what I was going to say. I know he was disgruntled and voicing his frustration, but like, bro, you're 35. Like, you're not like they clearly have true number one, number twos, and they could have two number two receivers in Woods and Cup. It's
Yeah,
like,
Yep.
bro, go and get your snaps, run downfield, get over. He still got some, still got some productivity. Like, just play a role, man. You didn't think you were going to LA to be number one. I know he didn't think that.
I
to me,
agree.
to, to
I
me,
agree.
he's just a field stretcher right now.
I think the issue, my bad guys, I had an audio issue. I think the issue that in regards to Deshaun is the fact that, like you said, Deshaun's older, longer in the tooth. The person that really should be complaining is Odell Beckham. That's really who should be complaining. Is really that's like the real issue is Odell over there in Cleveland being held hostage. Like that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the problem. That's the
yeah.
problem.
I heard the Saints had interest in trading for him, but they just
yeah,
could not get anything going.
heard that too.
Heard that
Heard
too.
that too.
I mean, I don't know what the Browns are thinking. I don't know what they're looking for, but
I think a lot of it is. I think a lot of it is. It's ego, man. It's kind of like, no, I'm not gonna let go from just because I don't
yeah,
want to. You
and
know
it's
what I'm
just,
saying?
but
It's
it's
a
just
lot of
like,
these players.
but it's like why, bro? Like like you're not using him the way he needs to be used.
And you're keeping a disgruntled player in your locker room that can tear your locker room apart. And if you think that you're a playoff team in that tough division,
Right.
keeping someone like him, man, you can lose easily and just lose your locker room and have a terrible season.
Yeah.
And your coaching staff fired, your general manager's fired. Probably not after this season, but you have some problems in the future, immediate
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, they're using this man like Cordell Patterson or something, man. They got into all kinds of stuff. They really do. They really do.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, what switching gears, man, we have to talk about this. Henry Ruggs the third.
Mm. Arrested for DUI with a result of death, man.
Man,
This morning, 3:40, Las Vegas time, which I guess is Mountain time. I don't know, but car accident with the Corvette, killing someone else. It could be up to 20 years in prison.
Yeah, that's it's you always hate to see, or really any kind of tragedy like that, which results in a fatality, man. But especially, careless act, which should be driving under the influence, man. And then for it to be the on top of that, for it to be, a guy for a lot of potential, man, a budding star in the league, not to play favorites, but he was on his way, man. Now I think he's in some serious trouble now.
man, listen, I when I saw it, I was working this morning and I was at the station and I saw it come over and I was just like, oh man. Then when they said that someone died, I was like, oh no. And it was just kind of like the writing was on the wall after that. It's like, man, someone died in the process. I'm, I mean, we've seen players, unfortunately, we've seen players that have been in these situations, have been able to resurrect their careers somewhat and be able to play it out. But man, I don't know about this one, man, because you know the details of it that I saw maybe about an hour ago was the fact that he was driving at a high speed, had a girlfriend in the car that she had serious injuries. I mean, you talking multiple people, man. I don't know. And then shout outs to me and Steve's frat brother, one of our guys, Marcus Clark. Currently in law school. He hopped in on our group chat and was saying, Nevada, that's a Class B felony. So, you know, I don't know. I don't think his status or money or whatever could save him and bail him out of this situation. I think this is something he might face some real jail time. I think he could. I for sure think he depending how this really goes further, could possibly be released. It's just, man, I feel for the Raiders, man. They were really coming along, humming along, and they just seem to get hit with so many off the field issues, and they're
Yeah.
just trying to be a good football team. It's crazy.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I don't know, man. This Vegas move, man, is not saying it couldn't happen in any of the city, but it's
Should have stayed in Oakland. Should have stayed in Oakland, man. But in all seriousness, all thoughts and prayers to everyone involved, the family that lost someone, because we have to acknowledge that a life was lost. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the family. This is truly a tragedy. Truly a tragedy. So we are a football podcast, and we have to talk about the football aspect of it. We have to talk about Henry Ruggs because he is the football player. But it does not. I want to make sure that letting people that are watching us that we understand that it does not diminish the life that was lost and the families that are affected by this great tragedy, for sure. But you know, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. That's really something. I don't know how he's going to come from that. I really don't know. I don't know. So, but let's continue to go forward. Let's talk about man. This one kind of had me heated. Let's talk about what we learned today in regards to Deshaun Watson and him staying with the Texans. Listen, for me, here's my thing. The Texans, I've never seen a franchise, and mind you, I'm a Washington fan. Okay, shout out to Eric. How you say I'm a Niners fan. I'm a Washington fan. I've never ever seen a franchise that can have that can mistreat cornerstone players the way the Houston Texans mistreat their cornerstone players. And we're going back to David Carr, Mario Williams, Andre Johnson, Arian Foster. I mean, the J.J. Watt. The list goes, and it's just insane to me how they deal with these players. I understand. I think for the Dolphins pulling out of it, I think it was more so because Deshaun is not trying to settle with all the accusations that are going on with him. With those, what number we were at? 23, some
Yeah,
23
something like
women,
that.
something like that, some crazy number. So because he's refusing to settle, and he's trying to get his due justice in court to plead his case. I think it makes all these teams nervous, and because of that, and 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 the Texans still wanting a king's ransom for him is forcing the Dolphins to pull out. So basically,
Yeah.
we're at the point now where Deshaun Watson is going to be a Houston Texan. Is he? I mean, is he getting paid? I don't even know if he's getting
So,
paid at home.
okay, all right. So, let me say something before I answer that part of the question. Another problem was the owner for the Dolphins wanted to talk to Deshaun Watson, but he was not allowed to talk to him until yesterday. So that gave him no time to make a decision before today's trade deadline. Now,
Mm.
Deshaun Watson is yes still getting paid. Um, he because he's not well, of course he's not released or anything, but he's still on payroll. And I forgot what the exact reason. I think because he's on the team's exempt list, not the commissioner's exempt list, the team's exempt list, so he's able to get paid still. So Deshaun Watson will be a Houston Texan now, and we got to wait till the new league calendar year to see if he gets traded before the draft.
Listen, if I'm a Houston Texans fan, I am starting a movement to remove the entire front office. This front office has imploded the entire team, hired terrible coaches, got rid of the best talent. And the reason, I mean, and again, the reason why he's not going to Miami is because I don't even know how it's made public. I don't even know why they leaked it, but that was his only preferred destination. Due to no trade clause, that's the only place he can go. So they're like, okay, he won't go anywhere else. Miami, we want A through Z, and Miami's like, no, we're not doing that, and rightfully so. So the Texans aren't even handling the situation right. I, I couldn't be a Texans fan. My God.
I could not. I could not. I'm telling you. I mean, we've seen the trend where people are burning jerseys. That is a jersey I would burn. And not because of the player, but because of the organization. It's just unbelievable. And let me also say this. If he is in fact guilty of the charges that were, well, it's not even charges. If he's guilty of the accusations that were brought forth, then absolutely he deserves whatever he gets. Absolutely, no question. Okay, so let us be very clear about that. We don't know what's true, what's not. We haven't gone through the process as a public and seen what's going to be discussed or what's going to be proven. So if he's guilty, he deserves whatever's coming at him. But if he's not guilty, and the Texans doing what they're doing, I mean, this is you talk about I mean, he's not even peaking. He's what, 26? He's not even in
Something
the
like that.
prime. He's
Yeah.
not even in the prime. Like you can fool around and get over a decade still of worth out of him.
Yep.
It's insane. And I think so selfishly, I hope that it's not true, because I've always been a fan of him since his days at Clemson. I feel like he is the best Clemson quarterback that they've ever had, even more so than Trevor Lawrence. That's my opinion. And his talents transferred into the league. I thought Chicago made a huge mistake not taking him, and taking Mitchell Trubisky. So
They think so too. I'm sure.
I'm sure, so I'm a fan, I'm a fan. So I just would hate that this would be the case and be the end of him. But man, whoever can land him whenever he gets free, whoever lands him, they are
Yeah.
set for
Yeah.
a decade at least,
Oh, they're good. Yep.
barring injury. So that's yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. But I'm trying to think if
Hey.
there. Yo, go ahead, Steve.
Oh no. Go ahead.
No, I was trying to think if there was another big story that I'm missing.
Well, I'm sticking with the AFC South. Titans losing Derrick Henry, man.
Oh man, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. King Henry foot
Man.
injury. I mean, they signed who they
Yeah.
signed. They signed Adrian Peterson.
to
And
replace him.
Deontay
And
Foreman.
yeah, Deontay Foreman. Yep.
There's no replacing Derrick Henry, man.
Oh no no no.
There's not there, you can't put a cast of running backs together to account for what he does. It
Right.
just it's
For what he's done for the last 3 or 4 seasons for Tennessee,
I
man.
mean, he was on par for another 2,000 yard season. He was on par. Like this is you're talking in a passing era. For you have a running back that was going to go back to back 2,000 yards
Yeah.
in a passing era. Come on, man. And
I'm gonna tell you.
go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
I'm,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. And the sad part is, I mean, he's injured. That's sad in general, but it looked like a routine fall,
A
routine tackle.
routine, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
man, if depending on how they block for AP, the Titans might be in trouble, and the Colts are licking their chops right now.
Sure enough, are
The Colts are looking at chops
sure
because
enough
Julio
are
isn't even completely healthy yet. So you have AJ Brown out there,
not healthy.
not healthy, but still playing,
Hmm.
doing his best. But the Titans' offense is going to look real different, man. Even
I
with
tell
AP,
you
and
what.
it's insane. AP,
I tell you what. I bet you they're missing John Smith. Bet you they missing John Smith in that middle. That safety
hmm
blanket for Ryan Tannehill.
yep,
They definitely missing that.
yep.
Isn't their left tackle? What is his name? Luan. Is he still? He's still
Taylor
out.
Wan.
Taylor Luan. He's still out, right?
He should. I have to check on that. I think he
Uh,
is.
But
I know.
but even when he was playing though, wasn't he struggling?
He was struggling a little bit. He was struggling a little bit. He had
Both offensive
Chandler,
He's a
tackles
little
were
older.
struggling.
Chandler Jones had a career day against him. That's when he had that 5 sack game.
Past that game,
Mm,
yeah.
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 So
And the right tackle was struggling too.
exactly, the Titans without Derrick Henry, the Titans are nothing. I want people to understand. I was talking to some Titan fans, and they're like, "Well, we got this guy, we got this guy." I said, "Listen, your entire offense is tailored to Derrick Henry.
Absolutely.
He accounts for like over 30% of your offense.
Oh
That
yeah.
means he dictates the game.
Oh yeah.
If he ain't no go, y'all not winning. More times
hmm
than not, y'all not winning the game.
Yeah.
He's got to go for like a buck and some change, and like two tutties.
And 28 carries. Because one of those bad boys is going to be a 50, 60, 70 yarder.
I don't see how Derrick Henry can be in the league this long and people still underestimate that breakaway speed of his.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
understand that. Y'all realize he's a big man that can fly. When he gets open and
Yeah.
he opens
He
up.
picks up steam.
Man,
And you
listen,
know
you're
man,
what?
not you're not stopping that
you're not
train.
stopping that thing, man.
For someone that big, to me, you know what? To me, he is better than what Brandon Jacobs was with the New York Giants.
I thoroughly believe that.
I think everyone
Absolutely.
agrees with that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just don't recall. I mean, I'm not old enough to have watched him live, but I know a lot of people talk about Earl Campbell, but I don't. I know Earl Campbell had breakaway speed. I know that. I don't know if it was as fast as Derrick Henry though. That's
Yeah.
a different different dude, man.
I might put him in like the and again I didn't watch this guy live either. Like maybe like for what I've seen, like the Franco Harris kind of. I think Derrick Henry's still different, but I think the backs back then that were the bigger ones, like the Franco Harris,
Yes,
the Earl Campbell. I think he's even. I think he's just taller than Jerome Bettis.
he's taller. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Those big backs, man. He's different, man.
People forget Derrick Henry looks like a linebacker.
Yeah.
Like that's what he looks like. He looks like a linebacker running the football. I remember someone did a special on him a couple years back, and he was talking about how they were trying to, I think, high school or college, was trying to make him change positions. They wanted him to play defense, and he kept trying to tell him like, "Oh, y'all must not know. Like I'm a running back.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm a running back,"
yeah,
and it was
yeah,
crazy,
yeah.
crazy of how he plays. So I would, yeah, I felt for him, man, getting hurt, man. Ryan Tannehill, you better earn that check, man. They paid you. They could have gotten another quarterback out there. They paid
They
you, man. They paid you.
they,
So
they definitely did.
let's see what that looks like. And staying on the injury bug. Now that it's coming across my mind, Jameis Winston,
I was just gonna go there. Yeah,
torn ACL. Also had some damage in the MCL, according to Brandon Wright. I think Brandon, you're the one
Yes,
that spoke on it.
yes.
Um,
Damage to the MCL. You know what? I'm gonna say this. When you tear your ACL, to me, this is the worst time of the year to tear your ACL because usually your rehab is about 9 to 12 months. And if it hits that 12 months, you're talking about this time November
some more
next
time.
year.
Yeah,
So New Orleans is going to need a quarter. Pretty much, they pretty much going to need a find a quarterback
yeah,
for the future.
yeah, yeah. They're definitely going to have to find someone. It's not Trevor Simeon.
hey man, he came in and won the game, man.
Listen, man, did y'all
Steve,
forget? Did y'all
Steve,
forget Denver?
I
Did y'all
actually
forget
watched that
Denver?
game.
Did y'all
Listen,
forget Denver?
he's in the hole. Listen, he's under Sean Payton now.
Oh, come on, Steve.
Who's better than Fangio, right?
Steve, you're smarter than this, Steve.
Listen,
You're smarter than this, man.
I just know he won, man.
Steve, you're better than this.
I'm not saying I'm not saying he's the answer. They do need quarterback and they need depth. I don't know why.
No, they need
why
a
the hell
starter.
Cam Newton's still sitting on the bench.
Well,
Sorry,
I have
the bench
no
at
idea.
home rather.
I have no
Um,
idea.
Simeon won, man, but they need some depth. But this was the week for backup shining, man. Trevor Simeon, the boy White for the Jets,
For the Jets.
Mike White.
Cooper Rush. You know what I'm saying? This is the week for backups, man.
Yep. And we gonna. I mean, hey, look, we got Sam Darnold's in concussion protocol, so we gonna see. What's his name?
PJ Walker.
PJ Walker, man. We're gonna see PJ Walker, XFL favorite. Look, man. Trevor Simeon is a good player. Okay.
He's a
not
career
it.
backup.
Yes, he's not it, Steve. We saw Denver. We know what Denver looked like, Steve. We know
Yeah.
what we saw it. He had his shot. He had his chance to be the guy. Clearly, that did not work out for a reason.
Listen,
Okay, it's how I feel
I'm
about Taylor Heineke. That's why Washington need to look for a quarterback because I feel the same way about Heineke. I like him. I want him on my roster. But he ain't it. I'm hoping we get Matt Corral out of Ole Miss.
I think
You know.
Washington needs some. They just need to execute in the red zone. That's been the problem.
Well,
Think about it.
He can't. That's the problem.
Okay.
He can't.
Well, why can't? Well, why can't he?
His decisions aren't good in the red zone. I think he gets overzealous. The
Okay.
throws. Here's my biggest problem with Taylor Heineke. The throws that he's supposed to make, you can see that he understands the throw he has to make, but he can't make that throw. The back shoulders, the fades. He don't have the arm talent to place
Okay.
it where it needs to go.
Okay.
This was the second week in a row that it got picked off because he underthrew it. That can't work. That can't work, man.
Yeah.
And so that's my problem with him. He has it. Up here, he knows what to do. He physically doesn't have the tools to execute it. He just doesn't. He just doesn't. So, I've been looking at Ole Miss games, looking at my future quarterback, Matt Corral.
I read that today.
Looking at my
Listen.
man, Matt Corral, man. Hey, I like him.
Listen. And this isn't to bash, Washington, but I'm a realist. I think you both would agree. Washington does not do a good job at developing quarterbacks.
Oh, never.
So if you're going to bring him in, you need to bring in a quarterback guru
Yeah,
to coach his boy,
yeah, I agree.
to
I
bring him
agree.
up the right way. If
Have
if he
him
has
into
if he has a private QB coach, bring him on staff. The Jets just did that with White. You know, don't ruin that boy's career.
Hey, listen, man. Ron Rivera talked about it today. He said this is a 3 to 5 year process. So we're on year 2. So
You
we
think he'll be
got
here 3 to 5 years?
well. Dan Snyder kind of guy. He had kind of has to because this is a look at what's going on off the field too. You need Ron Rivera there to kind of steer that ship as a steady, level-headed,
It's true.
respected figure.
Yeah, yeah,
You need
yeah.
him
Some
there.
balance, some
You need
balance
that
to it.
balance.
That's
So
true.
he
That's
gonna be
true.
there. He Ron Rivera gonna be there. You know, he might
Okay.
some coordinators might change, but Ron Rivera gonna be there for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I was telling it off from the Saints. You know, with Jameis, I felt bad because Jameis was actually having a good game. Started off really well
Mhm.
against his former team. To get that injury, I've really felt bad for Jameis on that. That just seems so unfair. But the Saints were still able to beat the Buccaneers, man. The only second loss of the season, man. Tom Brady, we all kind of wrote it off. A minute 21 left in the game. Tom Brady get the ball back in his hands. We kind of all wrote it. We got it.
Mhm.
We signed the check already before it was, before the money was deposited, man. I mean, and he threw that interception.
Yep.
There's something
Yep.
about him playing the Saints, and since he's been in Tampa, I don't know. That's his kryptonite, though.
It is. It is. And I know Champagne is more of an offensive guy, but he may have Tom Brady's number. I mean, I know he didn't in the playoffs last year, but he may have him figured out, man.
that's Dennis Allen, that defensive coordinator, man. He's doing a pretty good job down there in New Orleans.
Mm.
I mean, that's been like a top 10, top 5 defense for years. They've done a great job keeping him. Cam Jordan, um, um, what's the linebacker? Demario, the
Mario
line.
Davis. They
Yep.
have
Um,
shoot, Malcolm Butler still playing for him.
right.
They still have
There's a
Marshawn.
Marshawn Lattimore. It's a good defense. It's a
Oh
really
yeah,
good
for
defense
sure.
for sure. But yeah, man, I feel for Jameis, man. Speedy recovery for Jameis. I thought that was kind of tough. I felt bad for him, but like I said, his team got the W. He was in the locker room partying with the crutches. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, Jameis
So
is in good spirits. We
he's
saw
in good spirits. He's in good spirits.
that.
He's in good spirits. Is there another? There's another big story that we're missing. Oh.
Jalen Smith needs to retire. But anyway,
Well,
Melvin Ingram got traded from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Kansas City Chiefs.
why Brandon sounds so upset about Jalen? No. I'm trying to understand how you say so upset about him, man. He's just like, he need to retire. Call it. Hey,
All right.
listen, that knee injury that Jalen had when he was at Notre Dame, for him to have the career he's had, if he calls it, he should have no regrets,
Oh
man.
yeah, he exceeded
Honestly,
expectations for
yeah,
sure.
because that
Sure.
I was watching that game. That thing was nasty.
Mm.
It was nasty. So yeah, I mean, if that's it, if that's the last of them, hey man, ain't nothing to hang your head about for sure.
Right.
But the Melvin Ingram trade for sure. Melvin Ingram going from the Steelers, which he was playing well by the way, going from the Steelers to the Kansas City Chiefs. So we got Frank Clark, Melvin Ingram, and
Chris Jones and
Chris Jones. I was about to say Chandler
and
Jones.
Reed.
Chris Jones and Reed on that defensive line for a
Hmm.
much needed improvement of a defense over there in Kansas City. I think it was a great move. I think Steelers are fine. He was expendable, even though he was playing well, but he was expendable. And I think the Chiefs that was a smart decision by them. But man, I said it, and y'all looked at me crazy. It was like the first, second episode we had, and I said Patrick Mahomes ain't looking too
All
super
right.
right now,
Well,
man.
okay, hold on. So let me get to this first. Well, I was just gonna say Pittsburgh they draft defense pretty well,
Yeah, they
so
do.
they'll
Yeah,
they'll
they do.
move on.
They'll
And
be
a
fine.
lot of people aren't understanding. A lot of these transactions are based on the cap. Freeing up the cap
Yes,
space, man.
yes.
So that's very smart. That's a very good deal, I think. Now, Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes still looks good. Again, yesterday, he threw a pass. It hit the receiver in the face mask in the end zone.
I'm sick of y'all, man.
Did you see that play?
I'm sick of y'all.
Did you see that? It hit the guy,
I'm sick
the
of y'all.
receiver.
Tristan, it is not
I think it
y'all.
was
It's
Pringle.
him.
I think it was Pringle in the face mask. Popped up interception. That's not Pat Mahomes' fault. He hit the man. I mean, come on, man. Now, I'm not saying he's the best quarterback ever. He's better than what these box scores show. I'm telling y'all, man.
He's thrown an interception in the last 7 games, Steve.
And half of them were not his fault.
Oh God.
If Tyreek Hill is dropping, that's not on Pat Mahomes, man.
Steve. Patrick Mahomes cannot play the way he's been playing and think it's going to last 10 years. Defenses will catch up. Them defensive players and coaches get paid to stop you, bruh. Like,
he needs better receivers, man.
He needs better receivers?
Yes, he does.
Steve.
Yes, he does.
Steve. They were already crowning Patrick Mahomes to be the greatest quarterback they've ever seen with 2 eyes. And he needs better receivers?
I would never go that far.
They just casted out Aaron Rodgers.
Listen.
What Aaron Rodgers been doing it for years. Aaron Rodgers been doing it for years.
I don't know about all of that, but I know his receivers are dropping a lot of passes this year, man. They just flat out are. And a lot of these drops are turning into interceptions, man. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is Aaron Rodgers had someone named Lazard, Tanyan. What are these other names?
Tonyan, Valdez Scantling, and but listen.
I'm just saying, man.
They're catching. Kansas City receivers aren't. These are facts. These are facts.
Is it that they're not catching it, or Patrick Mahomes feel like he got to keep throwing the rockets every single time?
Bruh, he's right here. It came through the man's hands to his face mask, man.
Listen. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. You the one that played receiver. I ain't played receiver. I don't have hands. I don't have hands. I'm telling you. I got bricks. These are bricks. I ain't got it. So I'm gonna let you have that. You played receiver. My thing is this. All I'm saying is, and again, it's not. Listen. Let me be very clear, America. This is not like a Matt Ryan thing for me. I believe Patrick Mahomes is as great as he is. Okay. He is not overrated, unlike Matt Ryan. Okay? Let me be very clear about this. All I'm saying is he may want to go in this offseason, kind of put some more things in the toolbox.
Oh, yeah.
And come back better next season. Because right now, they're like, yeah, all them physical gifts you got, you're not getting away with that easily.
And I don't know. Well, I know they weren't dropping as much last year, but also the defense isn't as good as they've been in the past, and then I give Mahomes a short field that he's also used to as well. So that plays a point too.
Do you think? Now let's if we chronologize Patrick Mahomes' career thus far, okay? First full year started through 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. Went to the AFC Championship. If it wasn't going against the GOAT in Tom Brady, probably would have played in the Super Bowl. Probably would have won the Super Bowl. And then the following year wins the Super Bowl. Do you think we've seen the best of Patrick Mahomes? And now let me make sure y'all get what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's on a decline.
No, I get what you're saying.
I'm saying the peak of his ability, what we saw. Do you think that's going to be it? It can't get better than that.
So they're grouping him and Russell in the same category as far as having so much success so early in their career.
Yes.
Which is great for them.
Yeah, because Russell won in his second year, right? Won the Super Bowl.
Yes, in his second year he won. Yeah. In his third year he lost.
Right.
So
Pete Carroll lost. He didn't lose. Pete Carroll lost.
So and it's not the player's fault for peaking. Not saying peaking early, but having so much success early. It's just it's hard. That standard's set, so it's hard to live up to that standard.
Unless you're Tom Brady.
Year in and year out. Unless you're Tom Brady.
Right. Unless you're Tom Brady.
Right.
So
Facts.
yeah, I feel that way too. Because do y'all think he's gonna get better than what he did? Like, do you think he's gonna get more than 50 touchdowns at some point in his career again?
Now,
That depends
I don't
on
know. Not this year.
targets, and that
No,
depends on play design.
I just don't think we're
And
gonna
when
see.
I say targets, I mean like receivers, tight ends, and stuff like that. Because, like I said, in a couple of podcasts before, Kelsey's 32, so I
Hmm.
give him about 3 more years.
Hmm. And
Um,
that's 3 more years of like quality tight end play.
right, exactly. It depends on who they bring in at WR2, because someone needs to offset Tyreek Hill. I mean, I know Gordon is there, but Gordon's not
It's
what he
not
was
that.
that one year in Cleveland when North Turner was the OC.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
I
it depends on the play design, because I don't know how much longer Ben is going to be there, and maybe the next OC might change some things up a little bit, but it depends on who comes in.
Hmm.
so I think right. The enemy might not be there long, which will play a factor. I think if it does happen, it won't be for a while because there are two things happening right now. There's a young crop of quarterbacks in the league that are balling right now, right?
For sure.
That's still developing, and then there's your older group, which are playing super hard on the way out of the league. We're talking about the Brady's, we're talking about the Aaron Rodgers, those cats. So in a couple years they'll be gone. Then you'll have the Lamar Jacksons, you'll have the Herberts, the Burrows, the Mahomes, the Dak Prescotts. You have these young guys. So I think once some of the older guys are still playing at a high level age out, and if Casey can get a defense and a good O coordinator replacement for Bieniemy if he leaves, I think that's when we'll see him performing super high again.
Okay. Okay. I can agree with that. We'll see how that develops. But as far as this season, y'all need to just chalk it up. Reset. What I'm saying, get y'all get y'all lives together, man. Get y'all lives together. Get y'all
And
lives together.
I'm gonna say this too. Kansas City has a tough schedule these last nine
It's
games,
a it's a
because
tou- it's a tough stretch.
the
I
rest of
saw that.
the rest of their schedule is all teams 500 or above.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Is it the Packers they have next?
I think
I
so.
think so.
Yeah,
Think so,
yeah,
man. And Aaron Rodgers gonna have a field day, man. Aaron Rodgers, showing why he is physically the best quarterback
yeah,
that I've ever seen
yeah.
with two eyes.
I'm thinking about
Um, go
going
ahead, go
down to
ahead, see.
KC. No, so I'm thinking about going down to KC to
Oh, check it out.
see one of these. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, I want to look. I think we covered like all the major stories, so we probably can go into some of these games because I don't think we're missing anything as far as major stories. This was a pretty quiet trade deadline this year. It was pretty quiet. It's not like the NBA. The NBA you hear all kinds of stuff going on around these
yeah,
times, but this one was
yeah.
pretty quiet. This one was pretty quiet. Um, so looking at some of these games, mm, let's talk about looking at these scores and stuff. Let's talk about the.
Oh, hold on, not so fast, not so
Go
fast. You're
ahead.
not going to talk about Pat Mahomes like that, and then dismiss Justin Herbert losing to the Patriots. You trying to get past me on that one? Uh
I was trying to keep myself quiet.
No, 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 no.
Listen,
So are the Patriots? Are they getting better? I don't think they're bad. Are they getting better, or the Chargers been losing some? They've been dropping some games, man.
the Patriots are getting better. The Chargers, his receivers drop passes. His receivers
Oh,
do drop passes.
but Pat Mahomes is done.
Hey, listen, man. It's egregious what the Chargers receivers be doing, man. It's egregious. It's egregious. I mean, the man still threw for what? He threw for like 200 something yards, threw two touchdowns, two interceptions. One of them was a bad. That was a bad throw by him. Like he got to own that one. But the other one wasn't really his fault. I think the Chargers. Honestly, the Chargers are being the Chargers, and that's really what's frustrating about that franchise. The Chargers are being the Chargers. They get a full head of steam. You start believing in them a little bit. You're like, okay, pieces looking good, coming together, and all of a sudden they just start tailing off, and you just like, what's going on? Like somebody
Man,
got to keep the pulse going. I don't know, man.
it's been
But
like that since North Turner was the head coach.
I'm telling you, it without fail, man. No matter, and they keep changing teams changing coaches, thinking it's going to be something different. It's the same result every single season. I don't know, man. I don't know,
because
but
they have the personnel, man.
they
They
do.
really do have the personnel,
When you
man.
look at the roster,
Yeah.
top to bottom on both sides of the ball, it's really inexcusable to really be where they're at right now. What's their record? Their record is 4-3. They really should be better. They lost. They like you said, Steve. There's like two games that they probably should have had in their bag.
Yeah.
Definitely this Patriots game, but the Patriots are getting better.
They are, and I don't
They
want
are
to
getting better.
give the Chargers an excuse, but this young boy Herbert's going against some defensive masterminds, Dan Quinn, Bill Belichick. Like he's not going against any coaches, man. You know what I'm saying? These guys are gurus, man.
Exactly. Exactly. Man, I got to talk about this because this was great. You want to talk about a team that probably slept on a game? It's the Bengals, man. You lost to the Jets, bro.
This boy put up 402
In his
yards,
first game starting.
and you telling me you're not gonna? And we just spoke a while ago. He's starting next week. I don't care who's healthy. He's starting next week for
Yeah,
me. That was a big A.
because Zach Wilson ain't look like that.
Listen,
Zach Wilson's making a whole lot of mistakes at quarterback right now.
He is. But I think they put too much on him, though. I don't think that's Zach's fault. I think they put so much on Zach to deal with that, to be that guy on that team.
and when you say they, you mean like the New York media, or you think
The media, coaching
organization?
staff, yes.
But you know what?
I
You
think
know
they
the,
put too much on Zach Wilson
let me
to
say this about
win
New York
to win
media, man. New
football.
York media is one of the toughest
For sure.
to deal with. And they will put pressure on you. They did that with Eli Manning because there was a time they didn't like Eli Manning
Right.
until he won the two Super Bowls. But then towards the end of his time in New York, they started disliking him again. New York media, New York, New Jersey media is extremely tough to deal with. And I mean, yeah. So Zach Wilson is a first round pick. They're gonna put pressure on him.
so.
But my thing is this though, with the offense, Mike LaFleur is the OC. He's running Shanahan style offense. They need to run the ball.
They need to run the ball.
They need to run the ball because and they have the system to do it because
But
it's
they
a very
did but they don't do that for Zach Wilson.
I
You
don't know why
cannot
not.
throw a kid in there. You know what your team is. You know your team is the offensive line. You know it's not that great. You know you still need to invest in more weapons. Why would you
Yeah,
put so much pressure? There was a time where he was throwing the ball, what, like 35, 40 times a game. Like, that don't make no sense. You should not put
Yeah,
that much on your rookie QB. You need to run the ball, keep it balanced, give him a tight end, give him a safety blanket that he can go to, give him some screens and stuff like that.
listen,
Let him get into a rhythm.
listen. They have some teams don't have the personnel. The Jets actually have decent personnel. They have a
It's
young
not
O line
bad.
that's pretty good. They got some young good receivers. You have to make that work. Detroit, they don't have any personnel.
Right.
The Jets aren't Detroit. The Jets should be performing a little better. But I'll tell you this: they believe in this young dude White. I told y'all they brought they brought this man's off-season quarterback coach on staff. They didn't disclose publicly to what capacity,
Right.
but he's with the team now. He's on the sideline on Sunday. He played. He's with the organization now in some capacity. So that shows that they're believing in this other kid a little more.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see with Zach Wilson when he gets healthy and comes back. It's going to be interesting, that dynamic, to see how that organization moves. But you kind of have to give the reins back to Zach Wilson, because you cannot say that you spent a number two pick on a quarterback and he ain't it. We saw the Mark Sanchez, era. You
It'll be the
know,
first time.
listen,
Okay, now hold on. Now let me say something about Mark Sanchez. To me, that's more so I say Rex Ryan, because he is too much like his father. They don't do well with quarterbacks, Randall Cunningham,
I understand
and
that, but
they will rely on a strong run game and a ferocious defense.
I
They
understand that.
Rex Ryan should have brought in a quarterback coach to work with Mark Sanchez.
I understand that. But
I don't know.
at the same token, you knew that you were drafting a kid, and we're talking about Mark Sanchez. You knew you were drafting a guy that was 16 games played at USC. That's all he played. 1 year, he
Pac-12
looked stellar.
quarterbacks.
Pac-12, there you go. Pac-12 quarterbacks once again. So you knew what you were getting into when you drafted Mark Sanchez. You knew how you needed to invest in Mark Sanchez. And honest, to be honest, in his first couple of years, they did exactly what they were supposed to do:
They
run
did
the
great.
ball, play action. He was in the AFC Championship twice.
Yeah, that's
So
when that
they
Sean Green and them boys.
exactly. So
Yeah,
they did what they were
yeah,
supposed to do. But they thought he would take the next leap, and he never took the next leap. So that's why I put more so on Mark Sanchez than anything because they thought he was supposed to take another jump, and he never did. He never got to that next level. Now with this kid Zach Wilson, they like again we okay. We've gone through Mark Sanchez. We've gone through Geno. You cannot spend a number two pick, especially if these other quarterbacks that are showing flashes, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, all these cats that were still on the board. We took this kid, and you're telling me he ain't it? You can't do that. So people are saying, like,
yeah,
I know Steve, you said like, nah, that kid's got to start. No, he might not because if Zach Wilson is healthy and can play, you have to put him back on the field. I don't care how good this white kid play. Or let me not say white kid. His last name is White, y'all. I'm not trying to be racist. You cannot say, you cannot say that he is he's going to start regardless. No, because they spent the number two pick on Zach Wilson.
so you
He
have to make
has
it
to.
make sense.
You have to make it make sense.
You
If
have to
you
make it
bench
make
him,
sense.
if you bench him for this other kid that I don't even think he was drafted, you have wasted
Yeah,
a
yeah,
high price. You
yeah,
wasted. So
yeah.
it's
Teams
going to
do
be
it
Zach
all the
Wilson when
time.
he's healthy. It's going to be Zach Wilson.
Yeah, and I was told that's why because you want to when you make big deals like that, you want it to pan out so that you can substantiate why you did that. I heard, and Tristan, I heard that's why they're playing Landon Collins so long as safety because of what they pay him
What they paid him.
to come and to do. They have to make it make sense.
Yeah.
You
And now
know.
we're trying to trade him because he plays good in the box. But it's like we can't pay you all that money for playing in the box like that. We
Yeah.
can't pay you all that bread. I don't know who's going to take that contract. When I saw that, I said, y'all should have done that. Didn't I call it during the offseason and said we should trade Landon Collins? I called it. Now y'all over here. Yeah.
I
Yes,
remember. I remember Brandon bashing the transaction a couple
uh,
years ago.
Yes, I remember that too. He did. He
yes, I
did.
did. I said, for that kind of money, you can find three or four box
You
safeties.
said it.
For that kind of money, you can find three or four box safeties to do what he does.
I remember that conversation.
Because guess what? It's not too many deep ball safeties that come through the NFL.
I
It's
remember
true.
that
And
conversation.
see the Giants made that mistake his rookie year trying to make him a deep ball safety and he failed. But they start putting him in the box and he had success. They just let him walk because they weren't going to pay him
They
what
was
y'all
gonna pay
paid
him
him.
that money. You're not gonna pay him premium safety money, and you're really just in the box. You're an in the
Yep.
box player,
Yep.
basically like an undersized linebacker, really.
Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
So yeah,
To make
again, Washington got their hands full. It's always Washington, man. It's always Washington. Um, yeah.
better than
So
Houston.
well, you right. I'll take Washington's Mets any day over Houston Texans Mets.
looks like Washington took a note out of Dallas's playbook by moving Collins to linebacker instead of just benching him.
Here we go.
We got to touch on the Cowboys Vikings game.
Here we go.
We got to
Yes.
touch on that, man.
Unfortunately, we have to talk about the Cowboys.
You know that's a game I didn't expect. First of all, I said a couple weeks ago Dak shouldn't play, so I didn't expect Dallas to win. Cooper Rush, in my opinion, has always been a preseason superstar. When
Right.
it came time for the regular season and stepping
Right.
up, he hasn't been able to do that. So I didn't expect much. Came in early through some picks. I said, okay. I knew the defense would keep Dallas in the game, which is what happened. And Cooper ended up making some big plays, man. Cooper Rush ended up making
Made
some
some
big
big time
plays.
plays. Made some
You
big time
know,
plays.
um, yeah, I was happy with the win. I didn't expect it, but hey, we'll take it because the reason why that's big is because we all don't know how the season's going to play out moving forward. But any NFC win, especially, I think the Vikings can still make the playoffs. I don't know if you're looking at
Yep.
the seeding in the NFC.
Yep.
Their record isn't terrible.
Yep.
They can still make the playoffs. And actually, I know we're talking crap about Washington. Washington can technically still make the playoffs because the way it's looking, that 7 seed is going to have about 8 losses,
Yeah. Yeah.
8 or 9 losses.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, I personally, I think I had this conversation already. As a fan of Washington, I personally just would rather they just be trash the rest of the season so we can have a chance at a high pick. I don't to get a quarterback. That's where we're at. We've been there for years. I don't want to give up a king's ransom to have to move up. Every time we were drafting in the teens, it's always a hit or miss, and it's more so of a miss than a hit. Let's be in the top five window. We
Tristan,
Go ahead, Brandon. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead, Brandon.
we had this conversation,
I
didn't
know.
we,
I know.
about quarterbacks.
Listen, but
I'm, I'm
that's what
just
it's where I
I'm
gotta
just
look,
saying.
man. It's where I gotta look. I mean, listen. Caleb Williams of Oklahoma is only a freshman. I can't wait 3 years for him to come.
I
Okay,
didn't say that.
I don't know. I don't know where else to look, man. Free agency ain't looking too pop. No one's gonna come to us at that caliber. When you think about what Aaron Rodgers is not coming to Washington.
Twenty.
I honestly could see Aaron Rodgers going to the Steelers. I really do feel like he go to the Steelers and he could play like 5 more years and be good. Like I
Tristan,
really do believe that. I have to look at it. I have to look at these guys in college. I know it's not a strong class. I know it's not a strong class. I know it's not a strong class. But I have to believe that there's just some diamond in the rough somewhere
that can
in
be
there.
drafted in round two. That can be drafted in round three.
But
That
we
can be
don't
drafted
really.
in round four.
But we don't unless. But there's no. Okay, for the needs that we need, right? There's no standout corner except for Stingley. Stingley's probably gonna be gone in like the top three. Okay, out of LSU.
Yeah.
There's no safety that's gonna warrant that. We don't
Notre
need.
Dame safety.
He's not gonna be there. I'm telling you. I know how
Okay.
Washington is. He's not gonna be available for us. We
Okay.
don't need the pass rusher. So Thibodeau out of Oregon, the other kid out of Penn State, I think, or Michigan. We don't need him. We don't need them.
Do you need
Okay.
offensive line?
There's no standout offensive line that warrants a first rounder.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
There's no Penny Sewell in this draft that was going to warrant a first round pick, a top 10 pick. No, there is not. There
Okay.
is
Okay.
not.
No, reason why I was asking for offensive line because I saw one of mock drafts and I said, okay, this sounds like it's going to be a defensive draft with some
This will
sprinkles of offensive line, but
this will be a defensive draft dominant. Like Matt Corral will probably be the only quarterback drafted in the first round. This is going to be a defensive dominant draft,
Yeah.
and we just don't need that much. And the ones we
Yeah.
do need, they're not going to be. They're not going to be there.
Y'all need a quarterback and a better offensive coordinator.
That that's
being a better
that's
quarterback coach.
that's where we're at. That's where we're at. So Matt Corral, Ole Miss, come on over, big dog. Come on over. Come on over. Um, but yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with them. But yeah, the Cowboys right now, the Cowboys are the team to beat. I think. I think in the conference outside of maybe Tampa and Green Bay, the Cowboys are right there, man. Cowboys are right there. I mean, you
I
A
still
know,
don't
lot
like
of
Green Bay's offensive line.
a lot
I,
of
I I get that, but that often they're getting healthy. That the Bucks are getting healthy. I need people to really pay attention to these Buccaneers. They could really run like go roughshod in the playoffs because all their guys will be back in time for the playoffs. Like I feel like that's why they're taking the loss like it's not devastating to them because they're just like put us in the tournament where we
oh
got
yeah.
all of our players.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh
over.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So that is something to definitely look at. I'm only mentioning this because I'm just like, man, the Jaguars, the Seahawks game, Gino, 20 and 24, 195, two touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence, 32 of 54, 238, one touchdown, one interception. Trevor Lawrence, if I am your agent, I am finding ways to get you out of there, sir. I am finding whatever I got to do. You probably should have pulled a John Elway. You should have pulled a Eli Manning when you were getting drafted and saying, I'm not playing for that squad.
There are a lot of teams that could use him where if he went there right now, they would be so much better.
Yes.
So much better. I'm thinking
Or Remind needs to be fired.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm thinking Denver. I think Tua's doing okay, but I think Miami gets a lot better if he's there.
Yes.
I'm thinking Carolina. I
Washington
mean,
will
the
be better
list,
too.
Washington. I think the
Oh,
list goes on. Now
don't
he's a
listen.
quarterback that's ready to go. That you guys,
Let
you
me
know,
tell you something. If by some weird cosmic miracle Trevor Lawrence comes to Washington, I'm talking big trash from the start to the end. You ain't
that would
gonna tell
be
me nothing.
if that would happen. That would definitely be a great pickup for Washington.
That would be such a game changer. But alas, I know it's not gonna happen. Not even gonna get excited about that.
So why did
But
you guys sign Cam Newton, man? I gotta ask, what is going on? You're
you
closer to the
know,
organization
you
than
know,
most.
you know, I wish I had an answer, Steve. I just don't see why it wouldn't work. He fits what you want to do, Ron.
You're not even bringing the man in. You're looking for some. You're looking for somebody to move the ball downfield. We know Cam can do that. He's better. He said it. 32 guys are better.
Ain't
64
32
guys are
starters
better
better
than
than
him.
him? That's
Taylor
facts.
Heineke ain't. It's not better than Cam Newton.
Facts.
They get to the red zone. Cam Newton's going to find a way to punch the ball in.
Facts.
But
You,
Ron Vera said, don't got to change
I
anything.
don't know what it is with Ron and Cam. And I don't. Well, it's not even Cam. I don't know what it is with Ron. I don't know what it is. I mean, you ain't gonna bring him in just to get a look at him to see how he is. Can you imagine that kind of dynamic? Like,
That, hey, Dallas, we'll give y'all Cooper Rush. Just give us our first round pick next year.
I am not giving no first round pick for no Cooper Rush, who need to be lucky and counting his stars that Jerry Jones even likes him for being on a roster still after all this time. No, never.
So something must have happened in Carolina for Cam Newton. I mean, for Ron Rivera not to bring Cam Newton to Washington. Something
It's got to be
happened,
something.
and we don't know what it is. That might come out years later.
May possibly, man, because I'm just like, what is it? I want to know. You ain't even gonna give him a look. You're not even gonna bring him just to get a look at him and see what he on.
Yeah,
Like,
that's pretty odd.
it's
Something's
odd.
going on
Something
there. Now,
fishy about
mind
that.
you, they were only successful for those couple of years, and they had a crazy. They just had a crazy defense, and their offense still was good. But something's going on there.
Yeah,
We talking
I,
about MVP of the league? What 6 years ago?
yeah, yeah. Took you was them there for the Super Bowl. So I don't know. I don't know. It's definitely weird. It's definitely weird. Um, Before we close up, is there any other game that we want to discuss? Any other team that we want to discuss before we close up here? Like I said, trade deadline wasn't really
Yeah,
anything big besides Von Miller and such. But go ahead, Brandon.
I was gonna say, yeah, the trade deadline was dead, which is hopefully is better next year. Um, the guys who didn't get moved, we'll see what happens to them this coming off season. I know Fletcher Cox was on the trade block at
Right,
one time.
right.
Nothing happened. We mentioned OBJ. Um,
Free Odell Beckham Jr.
the Green Bay Packers, I heard, was looking for a tight end, probably Evan Ingram, but nothing happened with that.
So,
So
so I'm gonna say a couple of games to keep an eye on this upcoming Sunday. Browns and Bengals is gonna be one to watch.
yes,
Yep.
definitely, I agree
Be
with
one
you.
to watch. Panthers Patriots is gonna be one to watch.
Hmm.
Why you
Um,
say that?
because I think the Patriots will win that game.
I think so too.
They win that game. They're going to be a game or two, no more than that, behind
Yep.
getting a 6 or 7 seed and probably 7 seed in the AFC.
Yeah,
Yep.
because aren't they like eighth right now, even above Kansas City, who's at nine?
Something like that.
Something
Yeah.
like that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They're
Um,
4-4.
Another one, Chargers Eagles,
Mm.
because the Eagles have been winning some. The Chargers, they've been caught slipping recently. I think the Chargers are a better team, but you never know. Sometimes in their infield, sometimes teams catch that slump, catch that slide. You never know what can happen. Um, Cars, 49ers, you know, Titans Rams. We're going to see what the new look Titans look like without Derrick Henry. We know they won't look that great offensively. I could be wrong.
Nah, you're not wrong. It's Derrick Henry. You're not wrong. It's not gonna be pretty.
Oh, yeah, just a couple games to look at. Couple games to look at. You know,
For sure. Brandon, is there any games that you're looking forward to seeing that were not mentioned?
See, I don't know the schedule and I don't have it in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
but so yeah, but since Steve brought up the Bengals going to have to definitely bounce back, and the Browns are going to have to figure out, in which they will never do. They need to figure out what they're going to do with OBJ on the field. Something's got to work between Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham. And if me personally, if I was a quarterbacks coach or the OC, the head coach, I make them work out privately.
Okay.
but this is also what I'm doing. If I'm the Browns, right? I'm not saying they don't do them. I'm going to work this week. I'm going to actually study film defensively to see what the heck the Jets did to handle the Bengals
Yes,
because I know this Browns defense is better than the Jets defense. So I need to figure out that formula. If I
For
if
sure.
I'm them.
For sure. For sure. I agree with that. For me, the game I'm looking forward to is the Green Bay Chiefs game. Um, I just want to see how the Chiefs respond. I kind of want to see Aaron Rodgers just kind of put a foot on their necks and remind people like I'm still the baddest man out here.
What do you say? I own you. I
Yeah,
own you.
exactly. It's like I'm still the baddest man out here. Let's not forget about number 12. Okay, that's a game I'm definitely looking forward to for sure. And the games that y'all mentioned, those are all going to be interesting. All got interesting storylines. So we're going to see what happens. If there's is there any other thing that we thinking of that we wanted to cover? I think we've got about everything that we wanted to cover tonight as far as games and players and stories. Um, yeah, I think we're pretty much set with that, man. So, with that being said, if no one else has anything else, again, you can catch us all on YouTube. All right, you see it up here, see it right below. All right, just a fan podcast. Catch us right there on YouTube. This episode will be airing tomorrow on YouTube, so feel free to you can go back into it. Follow us on Facebook or go to our Facebook page. I'm just a fan podcast on our Facebook page. You could go ahead and check that out for us. You can also follow us on Instagram, just a fan podcast. Be sure to check us out. On Instagram. We're gonna start putting like little clips in there. Feel free to leave comments. We want if you got an opinion about something that you want to talk about, feel free to leave comments on there, and we'll definitely bring them on to the show. Also want to go over we are on all streaming podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. We're on all streaming platforms. Feel free to come and listen. Take us on the go in the car. You can fuss at us and send us a message saying, I don't agree with something y'all talked about. We'll gladly address it. But we appreciate everybody that's been following. Our subscriptions are increasing, so please keep the numbers going. As far as podcast and YouTube, please keep the numbers going. Hit the button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, share it. Like I
Like,
said,
follow.
get
like,
that thumbs
follow,
up button on YouTube.
for
Get the
sure, for
algorithm
sure,
up.
for sure, for sure.
Hit that
Like
notification bell.
exactly. Like I said, we're just three fans of football that actually knows a lot about football. So we're here, man, and we appreciate y'all rocking with us. For this is what our fifth episode now. Is that it? Is that what it is, man?
Yep.
That's what's up.
Yep.
Fifth episode, and
Fifth
guess what?
episode.
Next week we will have surpassed a calendar month doing this.
For sure, for sure. So the milestones are kicking in. Also, please, and message us if you would like to be a guest on the show. We will start implementing guests on here. So please feel free to hit us up. We already got some people in mind that we're going to bring in. Some favorite sports podcasters that you guys know. There's some other people that know a lot about the game going to come in and talk football with us. So it's going to be a good time. If that's all, I'm Tristan signing off. Y'all be easy, be peaceful. Steve and Brandon, y'all got anything?
Good, man. Appreciate you guys. Holla at y'all.
All right now.
Peace.
Peace.